What would you tell them about this game?
It, without question, did not tell a story of the game. Yeah, I mean, I thought as the game wore on, we played at a higher and higher standard. And to start the game, it was almost like they forced us to play at a higher level. And we've got to be able to do that ourselves, you know, just in my opinion. Certainly the score, I don't think is indicative of the way the game was. Certainly they were in control. If you look at the score, you may say, geez, it came down to the final shot or whatever. It was really nip and tuck. It certainly was not that. I don't know, we got down by 26 or 28, and, you know, we give our guys a lot of credit. You know, they always fight. They always compete. But, you know, I thought we had way too many breakdowns. I think we've got to have, you know, more attention to detail, you know, in the little things. Certainly with the number of guys that we have out, we don't have a lot of margin for error. But I thought we did a much better job of that in the second half. And I was really pleased with the way they responded, at least trying to come out in that second half and continue to fight.
The ball movement, especially in that first half, was, I mean, don't even look at the assists, but it was beyond kind of stagnant. There's a lot of seemed like one-on-one and isolation. Did you see that? Did you talk to them at halftime about, you know, we still got some other guys out there, let's move the ball? It just seemed like you got really, especially in that second quarter, really isolated one-on-one.
I thought that was a huge problem for us. We talked about it at halftime. I think 7 assists for us, Joe, was really on the low side. I think one of the things that ended up happening was our pace of play forced us to go ISO. There was no energy. We got back into the game there when we got down by, I don't know, it was 21-22. We got right back in the game because we were playing downhill. We were getting into the paint, forcing rotations. We actually started the game that way. You know, we had some really good offensive possessions there the first 5 or 6 minutes of that first quarter. And to your point, I thought we got overly stacked because what happened was I thought the reason why we got isolated was on movement plays. We didn't move with enough force and pace, and it allowed them to kind of jump up and be the aggressor. And they were, you know, you always want to get the defense behind the ball. They were ahead of the ball, and the ball got stuck. And when we got downhill and got to the basket and moved it better, that's when we had good possessions. But I totally agree with that. And that's not who we've been. I think they're a really good defensive team. You know, they're one of those teams that's top 5 offensively, top 5 defensively. And, you know, against a team, I thought the way we started, we did okay offensively. But to your point, that second quarter, we got really stagnant because there was no pace or force to the way we were playing on offense.
Billy, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
All right.
Okay, who's going? You guys going to flip a coin?
I can.
Okay.
We've asked you a lot about the pick and roll defense lately.
I'm sorry?
We've asked you a lot about the pick and roll defense lately. And obviously, Phoenix is one of the better pick and roll teams in the league. How did you think you guys handled that action?
We have to get better there. I mean, just calling it like it is. I mean, the one thing, and I know we've been, you know, I've mentioned this before about, you know, what can we control? What can we really control, right? And, you know, our transition defense, and I don't know what the numbers are like today, but our transition defense since, you know, we've had a lot of guys out, it's been really good. You know, in terms of, percentage of times teams are out in transition, we're one of the best teams in the league. For as undersized as we've been, we really have defensively rebounded really well. At times we've been really good not fouling, but we fouled, you know, last game I thought a little bit too much. And, you know, I don't know what the numbers will look like. We got to the free throw line a lot tonight. You know, we've done some good things defensively, and I think we've made some strides. Like I think on the glass for the year, we're like the 6th best defensive rebounding team in the league. The problem is we have to win the point. If we don't win the point of the screen, it's really hard for us because now your size and athleticism, foot speed, quickness, all that stuff gets into play. And I think at times we were okay, and at times we were not. We've got to do a better job controlling the ball. And I thought last game against Philly, you know, we got dominated at the point of the screen. And it's no different, to be honest with you, than football. You know, it's like the line of scrimmage. You have to be able to. And I think to Joe's point about us being stagnant, they dominated the point of screen. That's why we got stagnant. When we got off screens and got downhill and put them in rotation and sprayed it out, you know, we got good shots. And that's really what the game comes down to is, you know, when you have to create rotations, when a team has to put 2 on the ball, and how well can that team move the ball and how well can the other team kind of close out. I think we were a little bit better than we were yesterday, you know, at the point of attack. we have to be much more physical. We get hung up on screens. We get screened. We can't get back in place. We have to be better in that. We've got to be more physical. And, we've got to understand that when we play with some force and pace offensively, it's hard to get bodies on us. And when the other team plays with force and pace, it's hard to get bodies on them. But you got to be able to control the ball. And I thought at times, we were okay. And at times I thought we did not do a great job.
Yeah, so I was going to follow up similar to that. Lonzo and Alex are so important to that point of attack defense, obviously, but they're not coming back for a long time. So how do you handle it until they get back?
Yeah, I mean, I really, from my perspective, I don't look at it from. No, not just so much that, but even like you just mentioned, Casey, that, like Alex and Lonzo, they're not going to be here, right? And even to sit there and say, okay, when they get back, it's all going to be solved. They got to do the same thing that the other guys got to do too, So, and they're good at it. Don't get me wrong, but just to sit there and say, okay, these guys are back, their defense is going to be great. I don't believe that. Like, it's got to be a team thing all the way around. And those guys are good at it, but I think Isle can be really good at it. I think Troy Brown can be really, really good at it. I think our guys that are playing can be good at it. But we're not at a level we need to be at, in my opinion. And listen, some of these guys are in rotations right now and playing minutes that they hadn't played before, but I still believe that they can get that done.
And Billy, I just got one real quick one for you. You threw just about everybody you could at Devin. Was that by design, or was that a response to what he did?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we started the game trapping him, and we finished the game trapping him. We tried to trap him. We trapped him, and he got 22 points in the first quarter. And I thought one of the things that ended up happening was, if you look at his points, he got 6 points on underneath out of bounds on the side, where we kind of got on the wrong side of him and he created some opportunities for himself to score. Then the other thing too is he got in isolation and he worked us below the 3-point line and he took threes. Our pick and roll coverage on him was really, really good in terms of getting the ball out of his hands. I thought that when he was in space by himself, we needed to do a little bit better job of kind of controlling him.
I have one I want to
Sure.
follow. You obviously have these two great scorers, two special players, and most teams play them with shows and helps. But this team, Phoenix, with Crowder, and Bridges, they kind of played them individually more than it seemed like most teams do. And when that happens, how does it affect the other guys, and what do you have to do?
In terms of, in isolation situations, about?
No, when Zach and DeMar are not getting, doubled help, when the defense is not shading over to them and they're against that, do they have to do more? And they do enough, obviously, or how does it impact the other players who now are getting better defensive coverage?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure if hopefully I'm answering right, Sam.
I can send it to you now.
That'd be great. In terms of, I don't know are you saying that Bridges and those guys played Zach and DeMar one-on-one?
It seemed like to me they played more face-up defense than other teams do on those two guys. And I was wondering if that impacted the other guys, their ability to get involved in the offense.
I don't know. I thought we got a little bit stagnant, but the one thing that's great about Zach and DeMar is they're unselfish and they'll pass the ball. I thought Zach and DeMar both at times got downhill and sprayed it out and generated shots. I thought, a couple times, I think DeMar off some wide pin downs got in the paint and sprayed it out. The one thing about those two guys to me is, as great and as elite of scorers as they are, they're both incredibly unselfish. So if those guys are playing against single coverage and they can get downhill or get to their spots, I feel very, very comfortable about what they do offensively. I think when help comes to them, whether it's one or two guys, to your point, they'll spray it around. But we've got to play with a little bit more force to get them ahead of the defense where they can get to their spots and get downhill and get to the rim. But I think that when we did that, those guys, I thought, made good decisions in terms of shooting it, finishing it at the rim, or finding their teammates. I thought, during the game.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Thank you.